And just really quickly, because we've done quite a bit of work, I'm going to go out of render mode and back into model mode here. And let's do a save. So I'm going to go to File, Save, and we'll call this Weird Thing. And of course, if we click this little Show Data panel, you're going to see Weird Thing is now in our demo project directory, and then we've got Weird Thing. So really, this is its own component. So if I want to drag Weird Thing into another object that is compatible with Weird Thing, or I want to use this as like a piece that goes into more complex objects, I can absolutely do that, and that's one way to do this. So I think next we're going to get into a little bit more into bodies, a little bit more into components, and how to kind of organize your scene a little bit better than this, which is basically just going in there and creating a big ugly history for one object. So this will make a little bit more sense as we continue. Alright, so we've saved this file over here, and let's say we want to make another piece that's based on this file, but I don't want to put it in that file because I want it to be a separate component that somebody else can grab just by itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert this component right here into this new file right here, but in order to do that, I have to go to File, Save, and I'm just going to call this ToBlock, and that's going to create a new file over here, and that little spinning means it's actually uploading that to the cloud. So now if I want to insert this design, what I need to right-click, and I need to right-click here and do Insert into Current Design. Now if I double-click this one, it's going to open that file. By right-clicking and inserting, what I'm doing is doing a insert. I can hit OK. And now I've got a little link here. So what that means is anytime if I invite other people to this project and they go in here and make changes to this, it'll go ahead and update these changes, as well as if I use any of these parts to create parts that I'm going to create, it'll actually update those newly created components if you allow it to. If you don't want to have that happen, one thing you can do is right-click and break that link, and then you'll just have a component in here that you can make changes to, and it will have nothing to do with the original file. As well as if you right-click in here and do Selectable, Unselectable, that'll give you that little cross right there, and that'll allow you to use this as a basis to kind of base some of your drawings on, but if any changes are made to this original link design, it won't be linked to your new design. So depending on how you want to work, you can do either of those. But I'm going to go ahead and do just keep it selectable. And let's go ahead and make a sketch based off this. I'm going to go to Sketch, Create a Sketch, and I got a little button here to use if you want to use that. If you've pushed that to the top here. I'm going to click this top part here. And the first thing you're going to notice is it kind of created a sketch already for me. But if I choose Stop Sketch and I turn off our little Weird Thing component here, you're going to see it looks kind of strange. It's just kind of orange pieces. Well, you can still select these profiles. So if I select this profile here and then I right click and do a push pull, I can just create a component based on that. But if you want to update some of these, you kind of have to do a little bit of work. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to open my sketches here, right click Sketch and do Edit Sketch. That's going to shoot me back to the top, and now I've got this kind of semi-projected sketch I can use. If I want to go ahead and complete this circle, well, all I need to do is I can hit C, and it already recognizes that there's a circle in here. It's kind of like a light orange. If I go to the middle here, you'll see it'll kind of snap to that little circle icon. That means it found that circle, and I can go ahead and snap to it. So if I click that, it'll go ahead and update that circle that snaps to the sketch that we grabbed. I'm going to click Stop Sketch, and now if I do a push pull, I have two profiles I can grab. So now I can right click, do a push pull, pull that down, click OK, and then if I bring that sketch back, I can grab this semi profile here and pull that up if I want to. So now I have two different shapes I can kind of play with. If you want to, it might make it a little bit easier for you. Let's go ahead and undo all the way back out of that sketch here. We're going to start fresh. So we've got this piece here. I'm going to go ahead and do a Create Sketch, grab this top plane here, and then I'm going to hide the top plane and the piece that I grabbed it from. I'm just going to click and drag. I'm going to right click here and do Break Link, and that's going to go ahead and give me visible lines I can use. And now if I hit C for circle, I've got that little point there I can choose, and if I just go to this line here and click, I've got that profile I wanted. So now I'm going to go to Stop Sketch, bring my design back here, this little linked component here. Now what I'm going to do is take both of these profiles. I'm going to click both of these, right click, do a push pull, and I'm going to push pull this thing all the way through, and I'll go ahead and just make it stop on this bottom plane. So I'm going to go to Distance, Extents to, and click that one, click OK. Now it's set the new body, and by default, because this is a different component and it's not activated, it'll set the new body. Now if this was another body sitting in with my bodies that I haven't made yet, it would probably default to join, but because of the two separate components, it's going to resort to new body. Speaking of components, we're going to go into components next, components and bodies, but for right now, this top 2-block file we created is actually a component file, and it's activated. This weird thing down here is a linked component, and it's not activated. So, and then, like I said, in the next file, we'll work a little bit more with components and bodies, but just be aware that that's kind of happening right now already. So I'm going to click OK. And now, since we've created that body, we now have a body folder here with a new body in it, and we can call this like tube, I guess. And let's go ahead and update this tube. So what I want to do is go ahead and keep this little section here to kind of lock it into place, but I want to go ahead and dig out this section here so it's a cylinder the rest of the way down. I can use my previously made profile on my sketch to accomplish that. So I'm going to go to my sketches here, turn that back on. I'm going to click that profile, and I'm going to do a right click, push pull. And if you don't want to do that, you can go over here to modify, press pull, or if you got a button up here, you can choose that. And I'm going to pull this down, and by default it's going to want to cut, which I do want it to do, but I want it to cut this whole middle section out. Now if I wanted to, I could also go to the side, create a sketch, and cut this out, but I can do it just as easily with a push pull in this case, or press pull, sorry. I'm sorry, I keep saying that. So I'm going to go on this one, 2 sides, and that's going to give me 2 arrows. So if I click this top arrow here, I can do, and for the extents I can do 2, and that's actually going to snap them back up here, but that's no big deal. So if I grab this bottom arrow, I'm going to tell it, I want you to cut all the way down to, so click the bottom arrow here, and it should stay 2 here, and just click the bottom plane. Okay, just, yeah, I'm not going to fight it, just click the top arrow here. Now I'm going to click this top arrow here, distance extents is still to 2, I'm going to cut to this plane here. So let's go ahead and let's do that again. I'm going to right click, do another push pull. I'm going to grab this top profile here. I'm going to go 2-sided. I'm going to click this bottom arrow, change it to 2. Well, change it to 2. Click the bottom arrow. Tell it you want it to cut to that plane. Click the top arrow. Tell it you want it to cut to this plane here, and it'll go ahead and chop that middle section out. Click OK. And now you've got a new body in here. If I turn off our original component here, you've got your new body with that cut in there. So I don't need that sketch anymore. And we've got a new 2-block, so I'll go ahead and just call this its new component here. And if I want to, I can also, let's do another thing here. Since we're so comfortable in Fusion right now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to right click this sketch and go to Edit Sketch. And I'm going to click O for offset. I'm going to take this center circle here. I'm going to offset this in. If you want to do a specific amount, that's up to you. Click OK. Stop sketch, and now I can right click this, do a push pull all the way through to this bottom piece here. There we go. So we've got a little bit more of a complex tube shape. Turn my sketches off, and so here's my 2-block. I'm going to hit Control S, and that's going to say, do you want to like have a version description like, okay, this is what I updated when I saved. You can do that. I'm just going to click OK. And you're going to notice that this is going to save the file, and over here that little spinning wheel means it's shooting that version up to the cloud.